I'd just like to move the discussion forward a little bit and maybe talk, because obviously we're doing this Hangout as part of My Community Manager, and it's orientated around community managers. So to know how important the role of a community manager is within an MROC. Can Jens? I know you do a bit of community management, Jens, with Malayan, maybe not strictly MROCs themselves, but do you have a thought on that?
Playing thoughts, yeah, it's a bit like the I don't know, holy grail of community management, the role of the moderator, I think. I've kind of come in sideways into this whole community management, which I think most people. I don't think there's probably in a few years' time there will be yet another study course that makes you graduate in a BA as community manager or something like that. But I think it's very challenging. I think as a community manager, first of all, you have the challenge of trying to get people involved, trying to keep people motivated. But at the same time, one big shift for me in recent years has been to see that while in the beginning when we started creating online communities, it was all about numbers. And this goes a little bit back to, I think, the differentiators that Tom has mentioned in the beginning. Now you start to see that it's not about the numbers so much anymore, but it's actually about building the community with the right people and keeping those people engaged. So you have to find your ambassadors. You have to almost have certain levels of managing your community as a community manager. You have let's say you have the regular participants, you have the people that are joining new, but you also have the people that you really want to be ambassadors for the community, that lead discussions, that regularly contribute, etc. So it's becoming increasingly complex. I think it's becoming quite challenging. And actually not unlike when I look back at the other hats I'm wearing, it's not unlike running a conference and organizing one actually.
That's interesting. But does anybody else have any thoughts on that, Robin or Carly? Would you agree with what Jens has said?
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. It is about building a relationship with those members on the community and nurturing those, because when people come onto the communities, they'll be at different level in terms of how they want to open up initially, and it's very much like a focus, the old school focus groups, where you've got to nurture those people that are a bit quiet but have as much valid opinions to say. The other flip side in terms of looking after the members is looking after the moderators, because I'm sure people who've moderated online communities here realise that because it's not just for an hour or two like a focus group, a face-to-face focus group, it can be going on all the time. So it's about bringing in functions within the community that can make life easy for the moderator as well. Otherwise, it can absorb so much of your time moderating an online community. I mean, we've built in things where the moderator will get an alert externally, so they don't have to just keep checking to see if there's been any activity. And it can also give them a link of what somebody said, so they know whether it's just a comment made that they can observe or it's a comment that they have to go back to and probe whilst they're on the site. So it's also not only sort of nurturing the members on there, but also nurturing the community managers, basically, to make sure it's cost effective, really, because if you're running a number of communities in one day, it's different if you're just doing one and you can just absorb your time into it, but you've got to almost be in a situation where the system helps you moderate it as well.
So how many communities would you be managing as a MROC community manager? Would it depend on the number of clients, or you mentioned then how demanding one community would be?
Yeah, and it also depends on what type of community it is. If it's one that you really are closely following, I mean, for example, there are communities out there, and sometimes it can be good practice to be on and respond very quickly, but on the flip side, like I say, it depends on the subject matter. We have situations where you'll allocate so much time a day to be the moderator, but then you get the alert, so if there's something really pressing that you think, I want to go straight back now and respond, you can, but we might say between 4 and 5 at the end of the day, that's when you'll go on and just probe some people, and try and get more information out of them, rather than a constant all day logging on, responding. So it's about managing that process, because at the beginning, when you say putting out a proposal for a client, it's important to know how much time is going to be absorbed by the person who is the community manager, and by that you can say promise to the client that there'll be an hour a day that they'll be probed,